So AR comes in many flavors, and this is true of any technology in early stages as it sort of twists around and takes shape. So we have viral social lenses and line of sight guidance for enterprise productivity and other formats. But a less discussed AR modality is visual search, and this is the topic of a recent Artillery Intelligence report. So first off, what is visual search? So led by Google Lens and SnapScan and others, it lets users point their smartphone cameras or glasses in the future at real-world objects to identify and contextualize them through informational overlays, or what we call captions for the real world. Now this flips the script from other forms of AR in that it identifies unknown items rather than displaying known ones. So in that way, the potential use cases are greater. They go beyond preordained experiences that can have relatively narrow utility. So visual search conversely has the extent of the physical world as its canvas. So for example, use cases include education and travel and shopping. So students can identify landmarks, while travelers can discover and navigate new locales, and socialites can discover new bars and restaurants, and fashion acolytes can identify apparel they encounter in the real world. So the key word there is utility, and this aligns with the evolution of many emerging technologies that go from fun and games to real everyday value. And that's been the case to varying degrees with the PC and the web and the smartphone. Now, speaking of the web, visual search's value also has some concrete precedent in that it mirrors some of the attributes of web search, which has been one of the most successful tech innovations of the past 30 years. So also like web search, this is potentially a high-frequency activity, so its utility could emerge throughout a given user's day, and that engenders stickiness and repeat use, which can't always be said for things like social AR lenses, whose appeal lies more in novelty or whimsy. Now, beyond utility and frequency, visual search's value stems from another factor that makes web search so valuable, which is user intent. So the lean-forward act of identifying objects visually can signal high buying intent when done in commercial contexts, such as fashion and food discovery. Now, sticking with that user intent, this is one reason that Google is so keen on visual search. So just like voice search, it could help the company future-proof its core business. And that notion is supported by Gen Z's affinity for the camera and its growing spending power. So to that end, Google continues to invest in developing and accelerating visual search by planting it in well-traveled places, such as its mobile homepage. And for now, it's just conditioning users and cultivating the use case, but eventually it'll flip the monetization switch in terms of sponsored visual searches that flow into its core paid search model. And in that sense, Google could have an inside track. So as the world's search engine for 20 plus years, it has a knowledge graph and an image database to fuel AI training sets for object recognition. But that said, there's still room for innovation from others. So Snap, for example, is leaning into its strengths, such as SnapScan's fashion-forward angle. So that just scratches the surface, and you can see more in the full report, but in closing, it's worth noting that all these visual search advantages add up on theoretical levels, but there are barriers in practice. So that includes computational challenges, as well as behavioral and cultural challenges. So yes, visual search is compelling in all these ways, but it deviates from deep-rooted consumer habits, which are never easy to change at scale. So in that way, visual search suffers from the curse of new technologies, in that it's so disruptive that it requires mass consumer education. But if anyone can pull that off, it's probably Google.